Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back or welcome to my channel if you are new here. My name's Ruby, I live in New York City and this is my lifestyle channel. So if you like what you see here, please be sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. I post brand new videos 3 times a week, every single week. So there is always new content to binge. I have another fitness video for you guys today. Obviously you're not surprised because you've seen the title already, but today we are going to be talking about everything that you need to know for your first Solidcore class. I did one of these a little while ago for everything you need to know about your first SoulCycle class, but for those who don't know, I have just like completely been obsessed with Solidcore for the last few months now, and as of recently, I am also an employee for them. So I thought that this would be an interesting video to make, one, because I've been a client for quite a bit now, but also you're getting an employee's perspective on like what I think is necessary to know before coming in for your first class. I talk about Solidcore a lot, not just in my personal life, but here on all of my social media networks, and I feature going to class in a lot of my vlogs, and so I've actually had some of you guys reach out to me asking if I can make this video as well, which makes my heart so happy. Without further ado though, I think we should just jump right into this video because we definitely have a lot of ground to cover. Okay, first and foremost, let's talk about what Solidcore really is, because I feel like a lot of people going into it have a very different idea of like what to expect. I feel like a lot of people assume Solidcore is Pilates because yes, you spend the majority of class on a Megaformer, which is a Pilates machine. However, in my opinion, there really isn't anything Pilates-esque in the class besides the fact that you're on that machine. It's a low impact but super high intensity workout incorporating weights, bungees, cables, a ton of core movements, and for someone who's actually taken quite a few like legitimate Pilates classes, it's definitely very different from Solidcore. But I love it. I tend to not really do well with like slow, relaxed workout classes. I like something that's gonna be high intensity even if it's low impact. The classes are 50 minutes long, and when I say they fly by, I really do mean it. I feel like I blink and the class is over. I feel like it's a mixture of because I enjoy it so much, you know, they say like time flies when you're having fun, but also the instructors are so incredible and upbeat and they coach you through it, which also really helps the workout kind of like move along. So with that background knowledge, let's go into what to do prior to your first class. One thing that's really great about Solidcore is they have a ton of information on their website in regards to kind of getting yourself like well versed in the lingo and the class structure. So prior to your first class, I wouldn't even say I highly recommend this. I would say it's a must to go onto the website and get familiar with the equipment and some of the most common moves that you'll see in a class. So the Megaformer machine that's at Solidcore, we call that Svetlana. That's the name for the machine, which I just love. It brings a smile to my face. So you'll want to go online and kind of get familiar with Svetlana, with the machine, with the cables, basically everything that the machine is capable of. And then they also have a little section right next to that with like a ton of the basic moves, or not the basic moves, but the most common moves that you'll see in class. Something to note about Solidcore Studios is the lights are pretty dim, and at times they'll lower them even more in class, so it gets really dark. It's challenging to see the person next to you, let alone like yourself in the mirror. So arriving to your first class with at least a little bit of previous knowledge and information is going to be incredibly beneficial. As always, with starting any new fitness class, going to any new fitness studio, my next tip is going to be to arrive early. One, because you'll be able to get a tour of the facilities and the studio, but also you'll get to meet the instructor and they will walk you through really what to expect for your first class. They're gonna help you get set up on the equipment, make sure the handlebars are at the level that they should be for your height. They're gonna show you how to adjust springs on the machine, which will change like the intensity of the moves that you're doing and the weight that you have added onto the machine. The instructors are there to help you and to make you feel as comfortable as possible, but to also coach you. So if you have any questions, now's the time to definitely ask. So now we're moving into tips as far as what to expect like during the actual class. So as far as what to wear and what to bring, here are my tips. So as far as what to wear, for a lot of the moves in class, you're gonna be in various plank positions. You'll kind of be like hanging, not upside down, but like your head will be hung over in quite a few different moves. Because of that, I could just see like wearing a flowy tank top or t-shirt to just be like really inconvenient and uncomfortable during class. It's also a very challenging class, even though it's low impact, so definitely expect to like be warm and sweat a decent amount. In my personal opinion, I think a sports bra and biker shorts or a sports bra and leggings is the best way to go. I've seen a ton of people arrive for their first class in like flowy tank tops and stuff, and they take them off within like the first 5 minutes just because they realize it's not really conducive to the moves that you're doing. But of course, at the end of the day, it comes down to what you're most comfortable wearing and what's gonna make you feel the most strong and powerful. So similar to Pilates, actually, this is a workout that you're either gonna wanna do barefoot or with grippy socks. I would say at Solidcore, I see a pretty like good mix of people. Like I feel like half the people in class go barefoot, the other half wear grippy socks. I personally am a grip sock kind of gal. For one, it just gives me a better sense of like stability. I don't have to worry about like my feet ever getting sweaty and slippery. I just feel a lot more grounded. And then also like for me, I just feel like it's a little bit more sanitary. If you're a beginner, I would recommend starting with socks. Just again, making sure that they have that grip on the bottom. You should not be wearing like normal socks to Solidcore. And then after a few classes, maybe try it barefoot, see how it feels if you prefer that. But like for that extra sense of stability, like I said, I would always recommend starting in the socks. The last kind of like what to wear and what to bring suggestion I have is for those who have sensitive wrists like myself. If you have sensitive wrists, it is very important to note that you are going to be on your wrists a lot in class. Again, it incorporates a ton of different planks. This isn't something that Solidcore recommends on their website or anything. This is just something that I learned through trial and error, and now I recommend it to everybody. And that is bringing a pair of wrist wraps with you. Talk about a tongue twister. Anyways, they are so incredibly helpful, especially if you have really sensitive wrists. They just keep your wrists nice and protected. I have a pair that I really love from Amazon. I'll link them down below. I've had them for a couple of months. They've held up really nicely. I totally recommend them though. The first week I brought them in, I felt kind of silly because I had never seen another person wear them in class. But now I've seen them here and there, and honestly, like I don't even care how I look. I just care that my wrists feel so much better. And that's not to say that Solidcore is like really hard on your wrists. I've always just had very sensitive wrists, so that's just something that I know about myself. Earlier we talked about arriving early to class, and another big reason that I always recommend that, not just for newbies, but for those who've been taking for months, years, whatever, is because it is incredibly important, especially for this workout. I mean, literally anytime you're gonna work out, but especially for Solidcore, it is so important to stretch before and after class. During class, you're going to be using, working, and stretching a lot of the teeny tiny muscles that we often neglect. And so it's really important to be warm before class, and it's really important to cool down afterwards. Stretching, I am such a huge proponent of for a million reasons, but especially with Solidcore, if you do not stretch, you are going to be way more sore than you need to be. And for any workout, it's really not good to just like jump in cold, like having not stretched or warmed up your body at all. Okay, so now let's talk about the actual class. So this class moves extremely fast. I don't mean you're doing the moves fast. We're going to talk about that in a second. I just mean that the coaches are constantly talking, you're constantly moving, adjusting springs, getting into new positions. It is so important that you always have like your ears tuned in and you're always listening for the next cues. Now I know as somebody who does this, it is incredibly easy to like get lost in the music, especially in a class like Solidcore where the music is really loud and it's also just like super vibey. But make sure as soon as your instructor, coach starts talking, you are immediately tuned in. They're gonna be telling you what springs need to be changed, where you should be putting like your hands and feet for this move. Sweatlana, the machine, has numbers on it, so they'll say like, put your hands on number 4 and your feet on the back platform. If you don't hear that and it's time to like switch to the next position, you're gonna be incredibly confused. Your first class is probably gonna feel like a lot in the sense that you're like, wait, what's going on? What did they just say? It gets easier, I promise. Literally, even just for like your first to second class, there's such a like growth difference. When doing the moves, the slower, the better, which I know is gonna sound crazy, especially when you're in class and you realize how challenging some of the moves are. Your body is just gonna like wanna rush through them to get them over with, like do as many reps as you can and then like check it off the list. But that is not the point of Solidcore. It's low impact, but high intensity. The slower you do the moves, the more effective the moves will be. That is something that I learned very early on as a client taking classes there. I almost said as a student, but I guess at the beginning I really was a student because I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I had heard the slower the better, but I didn't really know how slow should be. So something that really helped me in the beginning was if I ever kind of lost my tempo and I wasn't really sure how slow I should be going, was to make sure that every move I was doing took 5 counts or more if I could do it slower. So let's say we're doing a typical squat in class, because it's a move that everybody's familiar with. I'll make sure that I'm going down for 5 counts and up for 5 counts. Any faster than that, like I said, it's not gonna be effective, but if I can feel my muscles kind of getting fatigued and I know I can't hold out for anything longer than 5, I just hold myself accountable to 5 counts. I feel like I've said this a lot, but Solidcore is really hard. That's honestly though what I love about it, because regardless of whether or not you've been going for 2 classes or 250 classes, it is always consistently going to be a challenge. And there's always modifications or advancements that you can do for each move to make it a little bit easier or make it a little bit more difficult. And you're probably thinking, Ruby, why are you bringing this up again? Yes, we get it, it's going to be hard. And that is because I wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to mention in this video how important it is to take breaks when your body tells you you need one, not just because you're a little tired. Something that I very quickly noticed, I think during my first Solidcore class, was breaks are not fit into the class, if that makes sense. The instructor basically does not stop coaching you throughout the entire class. Those 50 minutes are packed full of constant movement and coaching. However, that does not mean that you are not allowed or encouraged to take breaks. Every single person in a Solidcore class will take breaks during class. It's inevitable. However, the reason they're not strategically placed in the class structure is because it's honestly just up to you. Listen to your body, decide when you need to take a break, but before taking the break, just try 1 more rep. That's something that I've heard a lot in Solidcore, and it's something that I've really taken to heart, is even when you feel like giving up and you know you need to take a break, that's fine. Or not giving up, just when you know you need to take a break, that's totally fine. But do 1 more rep, just show your body that you can do it, and then take a break. Don't allow yourself to take a break that's super long and allows your muscles to completely cool down. I usually take a 3 to 5 second breather and then I keep going. But breaks are necessary, especially during your first class. Do not be ashamed, do not be embarrassed, because I promise you, your body is not going to feel good the next day if you just power through the entire 50 minutes without taking at least a second to just collect yourself. However, that, you guys, was my last tip as far as your first Solidcore class and everything that I think is important to know before going. I hope my perspective was helpful as someone who was a dedicated client, now turned Solidcore employee. I'm still a dedicated client though. I take 5 to 6 classes a week, and I also want to say, even though I work for Solidcore, I'm not speaking on behalf of Solidcore. I just thought that this would be an interesting perspective because obviously I'm very passionate about it. If you enjoyed this video and you found it informative, helpful, entertaining, all of the above, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and also click that subscribe button down below. Follow me on all of my other social media networks. They are always listed down below: Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, where I post daily, Clubhouse. You can also follow me on Amazon or check out my Amazon shop. Until my next video, I love you guys so much. I hope that you are all staying safe, happy, and healthy, and I will talk to you guys again very soon in my next video. Okay? Bye, everybody.